William and Nick here, and today we're flying from CYQG Windsor to CYXU London. We'll be flying this Cessna 172 SP, which is the default that comes with XP11. And the add-ons we're using today are Ortho 4 XP, Smart Copilot, X Checklist, X Camera, Plan G, and I'll be recording with Shadowplay and OBS. All the add-ons will be included in the video description below. This is something new that Nick and I are trying out, so we're very much open to suggestions and comments, so feel free to throw those below in the video. But that's enough of the pleasantries. Let's pop out of the simulator and start our pre-flight briefing. So for today's pre-flight briefing, we're going to be using Plan G and a little bit of IntelliCast because we've got a little bit of weather today that we'll be flying through. The date and time, today is currently June 28th, and we're going to be flying in the evening. We'll probably be taking off around 8 or 8:30 p.m. We will be flying real weather. We'll be flying real time. Like I said, we're going to be starting at CYQG, which is Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The route we're following is a VFR route. We're just going to essentially follow the 401 northeast into southwestern Ontario and then arrive at CYXU. We're, like I said, flying VFR. We're not flying any ATC today, but we will be checking Addons upon departure and upon arrival, just to double check that everything looks okay with what we have written down right now in our pre-flight briefing. Cruise altitude is 3,500 feet. And let's go over the weather a little bit. So Plan G right now is pulling down some MEDAR data. CYQG,
It's windy.
It's windy, a little bit, yeah. CYQG winds 190 at 10 gusting, 16 knots, and London is 190 at 13 knots. And like I said earlier, we might hit a little bit of rain. Just looking outside my window, it's definitely overcast, but let's take a look at IntelliCast, because I also have that open. First off, Windsor, Ontario. Right now it's mostly cloudy, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. No rain right now, and if we check the hourly, it looks pretty good up until midnight. London, 71 degrees, cloudy. And if we check the hourly in London as well, we're seeing a chance of rain about 63% throughout the evening. So as we approach London, we'll probably get a little bit of rain. And if we look at the radar conditions, right now you can see that Windsor is kind of in the cusp of a cell, just in the little outskirts of a cell, and we're going to be chasing out of it. And then London right now is almost covered. So if we go to the future forecast, things don't look too good for London and the Toronto region for tonight, but Windsor seems to be missing a lot of it. So yeah, a little bit of rain, and like I said, winds out of 190. So with the idea that the winds are coming out of the 190, we're going to do an ILS approach on runway 15 at London. So let's take a look at our charts. First off, we'll look at CYQG, because that's where we're starting. We'll be starting in the aprons over in this area, and because the winds are 190, we're going to be taking off runway 25. So we'll taxiway down F, then down H, and do a little bit of a turn, and take off runway 25, and then activate our route. At CYXU, if we take a look, we'll be landing runway 15, and we're going to be doing the ILS approach for 15. And that's essentially following the London NDB, which is 382, and then tuning into the localizer at 109.5, and we'll follow the glide slope in. So Nick's going to be programming all of our radios today. He's going to set up Addons on COM1 and COM2 for CYQG and CYXU. And then he'll set up the localizer, 109.5, and then he'll set up the NDB, 382, and we'll track all those things as we do our final arrival into London. So that's essentially it, and that pretty much concludes pre-flight briefing. Nick, do you have any questions?
Nope.
All right, so we'll see you back in the simulator. Okay, so we're back here in the simulator. I'm sitting in the pilot seat. Nick is in the co-pilot seat, although you can't see him. Nick, are you ready for the before engine checklist?
Yep.
You want to read it off, and I'll go and I'll do the responses?
That's fast alert and for
that. Okay. Brakes, test and check. Circuit breakers all in. That's not simulated. Electrical equipment, everything is off. We're in a cold and dark state. Avionics master switch is off. Fuel selector, let's see where that is at. Fuel selector is both, that's good. Fuel shutoff is on, or sorry, on full in. Avionics check in, that's not simulated. So we'll start the starting engine with battery. We'll crack the throttle about 1/4 of an inch. Mixture is at idle cutoff. Prop area is clear. Master switch. We'll turn the alternator and the battery on. Flashing beacon. We'll turn that on. Fuel pump. We'll turn that on. So the ignition flow, if I remember correctly, is we'll let the fuel pump kick on for a couple seconds with the mixture at full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut out the mixture. Turn off the fuel pump and crank the engine. And slowly advance the mixture to rich. And in the meantime, we're going to wait for our oil pressure and our temperature gauges to get in the green. While we do that, we'll flip on the avionics. And at this point, Nick can start setting the radios to what I said before in our pre-flight brief. And we'll just hold here on our checklist. We'll watch Nick flip through all that stuff for us. So in a future video, I'll be showing you how to import flight plans from Plan G into X-Plane, because you can basically just load them right up into the GPS as a safe flight plan. It's actually a pretty sweet feature. Whereas in like FSX and P3D, you essentially had to load the flight plan before you started the flight. This feels a little bit more simulated. So that completes the starting engine checklist. Nick, am I missing anything for starting engine?
Altimeter.
Oh yeah, so before we do altimeter, let's check. You want to swap over Addons?
Windsor information November 000 Zulu weather. Wind 190 at 10 gust 15, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 5,500 view, 10,000 view, 14,000 broken, temperature 23, dew point 10. Altimeter 2996. Arriving runway 25.
Alright, 2996. You can turn that off.
25.
Let's run through the before takeoff checklist, and just a quick little reminder of where we're going. We're going to be taxiing runway F to, runway F. Taxiway F to taxiway H, and then taking off runway 25 from CYQG. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so parking brake's going to be set. Turn on my track IR here. Parking brake's going to be set. Passenger seat, seat belts, cabin doors, flight controls, everything's all good. Flight instruments check and set. Fuel quantity, we're going to be running, it looks like we've got 12 gallons in both tanks. That's good. Mixture is set to rich. Good. Fuel selectors, recheck both. Check. Throttle, 1800 RPM. So we'll rev this up and we'll check the magnetos. Everything's good. Fuel flow's good. Vacuum's good. We'll bring the throttle back to idle. And we'll start turning on our taxi, nav, and strobe. Radios and avionics, we just ran through that, so that's good. Autopilot is off, good. Manual electric trim if installed, I don't even know what that is, but my trim is set for takeoff, so that's good. Elevator trim set. Wing flaps, we'll leave those up right now, and then maybe we'll give a little bit of notch of flaps on takeoff, okay Nick?
Yep.
And brakes release. So let's start our taxi. Alright, I'm just going to do a rolling start. You ready?
Yep.
Whoa! That wind. Holy shit.
Rotate.
Yes, please. Get me
Do you
out of
want
that.
flaps?
No, flaps are good. Flaps are good, that's fine. Whoa, look at us skid off to the right. Holy crap. Okay, so we're going to start climbing to 3,500 feet before we actually engage anything. There's Detroit off to the left. There's Windsor Airport. I'm just going to start a little bit of a left turn here. I'm not sure if that's standard. Like, I think you're supposed to do a right-hand turn on departure? I don't know. Alright, Nick, can you prime autopilot?
There we go. Now the speed should drop a little bit as well. Nope.
No,
Probably won't. It's not
for
bad.
some reason vertical speed isn't working. Well, just get ready to prime altitude hold.
It might be more stable now. I think 10 was maybe just too much for the wind.
We're almost there anyway. Prime altitude hold.
No.
There, that's good. And then,
Thanks.
what the hell? Why is it, Are you showing autopilot is on? Mine's on.
Yep.
Like, if I roll... let's activate nav. See what that does. Okay, I'm not touching anything. This is weird. Sometimes these autopilots are weird. Maybe I'm not understanding something properly on the autopilot, but like last time it worked fine this way. And now that I've switched over to nav mode, it seems to be okay. Like I'm not touching the controls at all, so... Well, if anybody knows what the hell was up with that, feel free to let us know. It seemed with heading holds, it wasn't activating the altitude hold? I don't know. Anyway, let's start conserving some fuel. Get that fuel flow in the green now that we're at our cruise. Lean the mixture a bit.
My bad. I set it to fold to Don't have much just for the instruments, possibly. Might pick that up. I'll put the top down. I had that set to GPS rather than nav.
Oh no, that should be GPS, for sure.
Ah.
Nav
Oh,
is when
hold
we
on.
follow the localizer.
Okay.
Alright, so that's about a good fuel flow. I've leaned the mixture a little bit. Yeah. So that completes the en route climb, so we'll hold off on descent. And we'll take some breaks to take a look at some nice little scenery, and we'll see you at the... while we make our descent into the ILS runway 25. Okay, we're getting to the end of our cruise here. We've got about a minute and 20 seconds till our final waypoint, and then we'll be on approach for the ILS. The localizer is active now. Both localizers are active. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that sunset in some of the cinematics that we grabbed. We had a nice little sunset as we got into London here. London is right there. So just as a recap, we're going to be coming down to about 3,300 feet. So we'll probably set the vertical speed, hopefully that holds okay, and then follow the ILS basically right down to the runway. Let's open up some of our checklists here. So before landing checklist, everything's upright and secure. Fuel selectors both. Mixture we'll turn that to basically rich now at this point. Throttle down a bit. Can we turn on some landing lights and taxi lights, Nick?
Have we done the descent yet?
Well, we don't really need to descend because the ILS is at 3,300, which is just a couple feet down.
Okay.
Like, we're pretty much on approach now. Thank you. Just wait for the GPS to kind of line us up a little bit. And I'm going to pull down our airspeed here. We've got about a minute and 18 seconds to the NDB, which you can actually see active there in the bottom right-hand gauge. We're on glide slope, basically. So Nick, we'll probably just use a couple notches of flaps, nothing too crazy. Oh, and here's the rain. Oh shit, that was a bad time for a weather update. I feel like we're high. I don't know if that ILS is working properly. Can you turn us off GPS now? Because we're supposed to be basically at 2200. Or sorry, not GPS, autopilot. We gotta come down quite a bit here. Ah, that's why. Our localizer was on, I see what you just did. Yeah, we're way too high. And this is... something's fighting me again. We really gotta slow this guy down though. We're almost gonna overspeed. As soon as you see me get into the flaps range, Nick, give me a notch of flaps, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, we're a little low now. Okay, thank you. That's good. One notch is good because I'm dropping now. Alright, now we're on the glide slope. Yeah, my problem there was like we had the localizer set to GPS, so it was following the GPS, not the ILS. So the glide slope was like telling me I was perfectly center, but that definitely was not the case. I can really feel that crosswind out of 190 though. A little bit of right rudder. We got lots of runway though, so this is okay. Just passed over the ILS. Okay, I think this is the taxiway here.
Just going up on the right. There.
It's hard to see these taxiways in the next plane.
I think there's a left coming up. Yep.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see like the markings now. We'll just take it up to the terminal. All right, pull my flaps up. Ooh man, I was gripping my yoke on that landing. We were coming in way too fast and way too high for a while. Well, welcome to London Airport. Overall, pretty decent flight. It's too bad the rain came in right at the last second there. Did it do that for you too, Nick? Did like the rain pop in?
About 20 seconds after you.
Yeah.
It looked like a screensaver. Start as well.
Got all these charter flights here. This is a good spot. Right up. Right up here. Ah, there's a luggage truck that I just ran into. Good thing there's no collisions for that. Alright. Securing airplane. Parking brake is set. Electrical equipment off. Autopilot off. Well, yeah. Avionics off. Mixture idle. Turn the key there. And fuel selector to left. Okay, so thanks for joining us on this flight from Windsor to London. If you have any comments or suggestions, we're definitely open to it. And we'll see you next time.